Whenever you guys are ready, we're all set.
Okay. Good evening, everybody. Get Nate.
I think we might have, oh, nope, there he is.
Did you want to see if Nate's ready to start?
I think we're ready to get going at this
Okay.
point.
And then,
Yep.
There
And
he
this is Board Chair Clark calling to order the City of Lawrence Board of Zoning Appeals meeting for August 6th, 2020. Staff, do you want to give your COVID introduction?
Absolutely. Thank you. My name is Kyle Kobe, and I'll be facilitating the Zoom video portion of the meeting. With me here is Catherine Weeks, Staff Liaison. We will work alongside the chair, who is on remote video, to facilitate the meeting proceedings. Currently, I have everyone muted so they can talk through the general ground rules for tonight's meeting. This meeting is being recorded and broadcast live on the city's YouTube channel and public access cable channel 25. During the meeting, please mute yourself by clicking on the microphone icon found in the lower left-hand corner of the Zoom menu next to the video icon. When you are muted, a red line will appear over the icon. This will make it easier for everyone to hear the meeting. Just remember to unmute if and when you want to speak. In the menu, you can also turn your camera on or off by clicking the video icon located next to the microphone icon. For the purposes of this public meeting, please keep your video on for the duration. If you are participating by phone, you can enter *6 to mute and unmute your phone. Somewhere on your Zoom screen, you will also see a choice to toggle between speaker and gallery view. Speaker view shows the active speaker. Gallery view tiles all of the meeting participants. A few reminders to ensure that the provisions of the Kansas Open Meetings Act are met. Board members, you must state your name and title each time you speak. Members of city staff must also state their name and title each time they speak. I would also ask that applicants and members of the public identify themselves each time before they speak to ensure that everyone is able to follow along. Individuals who signed up in advance to provide public comments remotely will be called upon by name. When you're called on, please unmute your listening device and state your name before speaking. The chair will call for in-person public comment for those who are physically present. Staff will direct you to the podium to speak while following social distancing and safety protocols. All motions will need to be stated clearly. After a motion is made and seconded, staff will call on each board member individually to provide their vote. Staff will then announce whether the motion carried and the count of the vote. I want to again remind everyone to please mute yourself when you're not speaking. I'll now turn the meeting back over to the chair.
Thank you, staff. This is Chair Clark. And with that, we'll start working through the meeting agenda this evening. I'll start with item A, roll call to determine if there is a quorum.
good evening, Catherine Weeks, Staff Liaison. Clark,
Present.
Falvey,
Here.
Gardner,
Here.
Harrod,
Here.
Shalinsky,
I'm here.
Wampler,
Here.
Weissner.
Here.
We have quorum. Thank you.
Thank you. Chair Clark again, moving on to agenda item B, communications. Are there any communications to come before the board this evening?
There are no additional communications other than what is in your packet.
Thank you. Are there any disclosure of ex parte communications or abstentions for specific agenda items this evening? Seeing none, move on to item C here. Are there any agenda items that will be deferred this evening?
Catherine Weeks, Staff Liaison. There are no items being deferred this evening.
Thank you. All right, Chairman Clark here, moving on to section C, the minutes. We are to consider the approval of the minutes from the July 9th, 2020 meeting of the board. Staff, would you like to, would we like to entertain a motion to approve the minutes?
This is Board Member Shalinsky. I will move to approve the minutes of the July 9th meeting.
And this is Board Member Harrod. I would second that motion.
Thank you. This is Chair Clark. We have a motion and a second. Staff, would you please give us a vote?
Catherine Weeks, Staff Liaison. Clark?
Aye.
Falvey?
Aye.
Gardner?
Aye.
Harrod?
Aye.
Shalinsky?
Aye.
Wampler?
I think I need to abstain since I wasn't in attendance at that meeting.
Okay. And Weisner?
Abstain.
Okay. The motion carries.
All right, Chairman Clark, thank you. This is moving on to section D, the public hearing portion of this evening. At this point, we would love to hear from staff on item number 1, B2121, an appeal filed by Adam Williams for property at 900 Pennsylvania Street.
Good evening, board members. I'm Luke Mortensen, planner with the Planning and Development Services Department. As Mr. Clark just noted, item number 1 tonight is a continuance of a previously considered appeal of an administrative determination related to the former bar lounge use located at 900 Pennsylvania Street. At the May 7th, 2020 Board of Zoning Appeals meeting, staff recommended the board find the interim planning director did not err in her determination that the former bar lounge use had been abandoned for a period of 12 months or more without a concerted effort to maintain the non-conforming use. During the meeting, the applicant discussed information that had not previously been made available to staff, and the board remanded the determination back to the planning director to consider the additional materials. The applicant then formally submitted additional materials. Staff also analyzed additional materials provided by the state, county, and the city clerk's office. A description of the materials provided and the staff's analysis can be found in the staff report within tonight's agenda. Having considered the additional materials and after additional analysis, the planning director upheld the previous determination of abandonment, and staff notified the applicant via email on June 19th. The applicant submitted and staff accepted an appeal to the upheld determination on July 2nd. Much of the board's discussion at the May 7th meeting centered on the applicant's failure to renew the subject property's cereal malt beverage or CMB license. Staff had argued that without a CMB license, the bar lounge use description was no longer accurate. The board questioned how a concerted effort to maintain the use could be shown without a CMB license and inquired about the renewal process. Staff considered these inquiries during the second round of analysis and addresses them in the report. On March 2nd, 2014, the former bar lounge use failed a Kansas Department of Agriculture Division of Food Safety and Lodging inspection and was ordered to cease operations. The owner failed to rectify the situation and submit for a reopening inspection. An approved reopening inspection would have allowed the Lawrence Douglas County Health Department to inspect the subject property and the Lawrence City Clerk's office to renew the CMB license. No actions were taken from May 2nd, 2014 to May 2nd, 2015, which constitutes the code-determined 12-month period for which concerted effort to maintain the use could have been considered. As of June 2020, the state has no records of reopening inspection or licenses for the subject property. The applicant submitted receipts from both Evergy and the City of Lawrence, indicating these utilities had been continuously paid and maintained. The applicant also submitted 3 bids for interior and exterior improvements at the subject property, one from 2016, one from 2017, and one from 2018. Finally, the applicant submitted 2 invoices for interior and exterior improvements at the subject property, one from 2016 and one from 2017. Staff reviewed all of the submitted materials and determined that none of the materials was from the 12-month period during which the improvements could have been considered as a concerted effort to maintain the use. The materials submitted by the applicant do not show a concerted effort to maintain the non-conforming bar lounge use. They show that the general upkeep and maintenance was done and the bills remained paid. These actions could have been taken for any use at the subject property, conforming or non-conforming. Staff continues to support the materials and analysis provided in the initial staff report from May, and that is included with tonight's agenda. We did have a communication from a neighbor supporting staff's determination. It came in a little bit later, but it should be in tonight's packet as well. Additionally, I will note that the board may reverse, affirm wholly or in part, or may modify the decision being appealed. The determination may only be reversed when the board finds substantial factual evidence in the official record of the application that the administrative official erred. To conclude, staff recommends the board find the planning director did not err in his determination of abandonment. I believe the applicant is with us tonight, and as always, Catherine and I are available for questions.
This is Board Member Clark. Thank you, Luke. At this time, does the board have any questions for staff? Okay, seeing none at this point in time, I would like to invite the applicant to share with us.
Good evening, Adam Williams, here representing the Del Campo family and hoping to get this appealed reversed. Going back to our previous meeting, yes, there was some requests by the board to provide additional information. We spent the time and effort. We got those invoices together, presented those to the planning department, and was hoping that that was the key piece to moving forward for us. I think it really all comes down to what's considered a concerted effort. The code does not say that a license is required. Code does not say a permit needs to be pulled. It really comes down to concerted effort and a time frame. We feel that a concerted effort, without a doubt, has been made to try to reopen this establishment. Concerted effort means a lot of different things for a lot of different companies, and I think that's why it's such a gray area that planning has to figure out, you know, how does that fit into this situation? For the Del Campos at the time, if they had the money at the time, they would have pulled that license, or they would have pulled a permit to get this reopened as quickly as possible, but that wasn't in the cards for them. So they did everything within their power to continue on an effort to get this reopened on to even this day, and that's why I'm here before you. A lot of things for small companies are done that don't necessarily get a proposal or an invoice. You know, there's a lot of sweat equity that goes into owning a small business, as some of you probably know. And in this case, and Charlie, maybe you can attest to some of these things that happened in that 12-month period that we don't have record of, because there was never a record to be had. But it's not that the work didn't get complete, it's just that there isn't a piece of paper to follow it. I'll leave it at that. If Charlie wants to chime in, he can. You know, I guess I would leave with the crazy times that we're in today. We're doing everything we can to help small businesses survive. And anything from, you know, I can go downtown to Weaver's, and if they want to serve me a gin and tonic, they can. Or if I want to go to Sunflower Bike Shop and have a beer, we're allowing them to do that today. Or if I want to go to Weaver's or Waxman Candles and get a glass of wine, they have the right to do that. Every restaurant, every bar have moved out of their buildings onto the street of Massachusetts to try to survive. Here we have the Del Campo family, which has done this for almost 30 years as Charlie's East Side. And because of what I'm going to call a technicality in a code book that is certainly a gray area, we're saying no to them. And to me, there's something amiss here that, you know, today is a time to support small business. It's time to help this family get this reopened. And we're hoping today that you can reverse this decision and let Charlie's East Side happen for another 30 years.
This is Chair Clark. There's an invitation for Charlie to speak at this time. Charlie, would you have anything to add to this conversation?
I'm Charlie Del Campo.
and I ran the business for 30 years over there. When I closed up, I was expecting to reopen, but I had to bring everything up to date, and I tried to do it by working and doing most of the work myself, and I was doing like all the work inside the place myself and everything like that, but it just took me longer and longer to get the money to open up and have the money for everything. But I never knew that. I knew they closed me up. I didn't know they took away my license until I talked to you guys, and that's what I'm always confused about. Is that I knew I wasn't open, but I just didn't know about the license part, and I was just hoping try to get open by fixing as much as I can by myself, because I just didn't have the money to do it and hire people. But then later on, I had people help me and started helping me out. So, and that's how we started getting to the point we're at now. And I still pay the taxes on the building as a commercial. I don't pay as a taxes on the building as a home. So they're still charging me as a commercial building than they do as a home building. And I'm just asking for your help, to help me out here, because I like to get it reopened. Thanks.
Thank you. This is Chairman Clark asking if the board has any questions for the applicant at this time.
Board Member Gardner, when we first heard this, I think it was Del Campo's daughter that talked about receipts. And, I do a lot of work myself too in repair, and many of them don't need a permit or a contractor, but I do keep the receipts, or I have credit card evidence that I bought the materials. And so I was under the impression that within that year, there were receipts and stuff that showed that that they bought materials, even though they worked on them themselves. So if they did not provide that, then that is a problem, because it doesn't show anything until 2016 or 2017. So the evidence really wasn't provided to the staff in order to make the a reversal of the initial decision. So,
Clark, Major, do you have any questions specifically?
Yeah, my question really is why didn't you provide receipts or something to show that you did work within that first year?
Like I said before, perhaps the materials were already purchased. A lot of times businesses have access to materials where they don't need to go buy stuff to do the work. They have that available to them. We went back, I think it was early 2016. But I can't answer your question completely on the receipts. We've provided everything that we had available to us.
That's very unfortunate.
Okay. Any other questions for the applicant at this time?
I just want to say, I'm Carlos Del Campo. I just wanted to say, I had my dad, he has a building with a bunch of materials in it. It's used materials, but it's a bunch of materials in there. And I was just using his stuff that he had. And a lot of stuff wasn't so much buying stuff. It's just mainly just fixing things up, painting it, stuff that we already had. And I was doing that until I fell down the stairs and I got hurt really bad. And I couldn't walk for a while, and I had to go to therapy and everything like that. And I'm getting around now, but I still take medication for it, and I still go to therapy. And at the beginning, the only reason I didn't keep track of everything is because I was just using what we had in all the materials we had anyway. Because we have a lot of different kind of equipment for kitchens and stuff like that, and the material, lumber and stuff like that. And I was just using all that stuff first until I had to get to like the roofing and everything like that. I had to buy all that new. And the plumbing, you know, I had to buy that stuff new. So that's the reason why a lot of the stuff I was doing myself was a lot of stuff we had around. It was used stuff, but it was still good.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions for the applicant at this time? All right, seeing none, this is Chairman Clark, moving that we go on and have some internal board discussion. Oh, no, I guess public portion of the meeting. Open the public comment.
This is Staff Liaison Catherine. We do not have anyone in-house that would offer public comment at this time.
Thank you. I would entertain a motion then to close the public portion.
This is Eric Weisner. I move we close the public portion of comment.
Board Member Gardner, second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Staff, would you do a roll call for us?
Yeah. Catherine Week. Clark.
Aye.
Falvey.
Aye.
Gardner.
Aye.
Harrod.
Aye.
Shalinsky.
Aye.
Wampler.
Aye.
And Weisner.
Aye.
Motion carries.
All right, this is Chair Clark. Thank you, staff. Board, let's discuss.
I really understand the challenges for small business, and I feel really bad that the property owner couldn't provide any proof that he did work during that first year. So I can't, while I want to, I can't find any error in the planning director's affirmation of the previous decision.
And just for the record, could you state your title, Major?
Oh, sorry. Board Member Gardner.
Thank you.
This is Board Member Shalinsky. I really do not see any basis in the evidence to overturn the staff determination. It looks like, we asked them to review everything that was submitted twice on the first application, and then after it was sent back, remanded for more information. And it looks like due diligence was done. Everything was considered, and the analysis was that there was not sufficient evidence to determine that a concerted effort had been made to retain the non-conforming use. And I don't have any basis to say that the staff got it wrong. So I'm going to make a motion that we determine that the staff did not err in its determination that the non-conforming use was abandoned.
Board Member Falvey, I'll second that motion.
Chairman.
Board Member Gardner, one more point of discussion before a vote, because I don't know whether I'm allowed to make this after a vote. One of the things that was mentioned was that Mr. De Campo mentioned was paying taxes on at the business commercial rate versus a residential rate. And I'm wondering if the board has any feedback to the taxing agency, because if they're basically not a commercial place but a residential place, then can we recommend, or can that be refunded to the level it would have been as a residence?
This is Chairman Clark, and I think staff can speak more appropriately to this. I believe it says zoned commercial, and that is still true. It is still zoned commercial. It would just, they lost their special use permit or their CMB license. Is that correct, staff?
This is Catherine Weeks, staff liaison. I can try to answer that question. So they're being taxed on the last known use. It would have had to have been converted back to a residence for them to be classified as a residence for taxing purposes. Any building permit gets, the county pulls those records as well, and that's how they keep track of what property is being used for, what type of use. So regardless of whether it was a bar or restaurant, the last known use was in the commercial realm for taxing purposes, and that's what the county would have it currently listed as, is commercial.
Thank you.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. At this time, I would like staff to the vote on this motion.
Okay, Catherine Week, staff liaison. Clark?
Aye.
Falvey? I'm sorry, Falvey?
Aye.
Gardner?
Unfortunate aye.
Harrod?
Aye.
Shalinsky?
Aye.
Wampler?
Also, unfortunate aye.
Weisner?
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carries.
Thank you.
All right, this is Chairman Clark. That concludes the public hearing portion of tonight's meeting. Moving on, are there any miscellaneous items from city staff or board?
Yeah, this is Catherine Weeks, staff liaison. We don't have any miscellaneous items, but I do want to let you know that we do anticipate an application coming in before the deadline tomorrow for next month's meeting. So we should have at least one on the agenda for next month.
Okay. Chairman Clark says thank you. And I would entertain a motion to adjourn this evening's Board of Zoning Appeals meeting.
This is Board Member Harrod, so moved.
And Board Member Gardner, second.
We have a motion and a second. Staff, would you take call on that?
Yep, Catherine Weeks, staff liaison. Clark?
Aye.
Falvey?
Aye.
Gardner?
Aye.
Harrod?
Aye.
Shalinsky?
Aye.
Wampler?
Aye.
And Weisner.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Good evening,
you all.
everybody. Have a good night.
Have a great
Thank
evening.
you. See you guys later.
Bye-bye. Thanks.
Thank you.